Hi guys, it's me again for the first of this week's videos, and today we're on the United States. And yeah, the area that is now known as the United States was inhabited for thousands of years by various tribal peoples. As the first European to arrive in what is now considered the United States was Christopher Columbus. And if you want to go even earlier, look at the Canada video that I posted last Friday. But yeah, as he made landfall at Ponce de Leon in what is now Florida, as he laid claim to the interior of the United States, as Spain claimed what is now the Southwest, as the first English settlement was in the Virginia colony in what is now Jamestown in 1607, as a few years later in 1620 the Pilgrims arrived and founded the Plymouth colony, and eventually England would have 13 colonies in the eastern North America. And by the 1700s the American colonies were growing unhappy with what they called taxation without representation, and in 1776 the United States declared its independence from England, as the American Revolutionary War for independence would follow, and with some help from France the colonies defeated England. In 1861 the United States experienced the Civil War, and southern states tried to secede from the Union. Sorry. No, it's like, you know when you're about to sneeze but it doesn't actually come up, kind of thing. But the southern states were defeated after a bloody civil war, and the country remained whole under the Union. And the country continued to industrialise, and in the 1900s became one of the world's industrial leaders. And in both of the world wars they tried to remain neutral, but they kind of ended up fighting with the colonial masters, the UK, and their allies. As in World War II, it was the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and the Japanese forced the US to enter the war. As the US developed nuclear weapons until these two other bombs against Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Yeah, it's and they effectively ended the World War, but it's it has been debated whether or not they were necessary or not. And once World War II ended, the Cold War started with the Soviet Union. And in the late 1900s, the United States became one of the world's superpowers, as the other superpowers was that of the Soviet Union, which kind of transitioned into Russia kind of thing. As both countries had nuclear weapons, and the two fought for many years, where the battles were fought by spies, and it was kind of the race to have the most weapons, and supporting sides in proxy wars like the Korean War, Vietnam War, and the Soviet-Afghan War kind of thing. But as it happened, the Soviet Union collapsed, and Russia kind of filled the boots kind of thing, as there's still some tension between the US and Russia. And for the legend, there's a Cherokee Rose, as in history As like in history and all, the Native Americans haven't really been well treated, as they were removed from like their land that they had previously held. As it was kind of like the land where they'd always lived, and it was a part of their sacred life and sacred way of life and all that. As they forced toward like west, and what they few little they had to carry, kind of thing. As like they were sometimes marched without shelter or blankets that were adequate for their journey. So like as the men kind of were angry and children were crying and like and there's like little comfort, as many died, and like the Cherokee women kind of cried for their broken hearts, and the spirits were drowning in pain as the hopes was gone, as the grief made us neglect the families, our parents, and it's like some were ready to die rather than go on, kind of thing. And seeing the pain, like some of the elders gathered together and began to pray that some sign would come to ease the pain they were going through, so that they may care for their children and like be beside the men and all that. And their prayers were answered, as the next day, as they began walking again, they were able to see white roses growing along the trail that seemed to have sprung like overnight, kind of thing. And many thought they were beautiful, and the petals of each rose were white like the tears, as at the centre was yellow, like the golden, the greedy white men, like white men, as it's like from Europe and all that, took from our hills, as they could count like 7 leaves on each stem, as there were 7 clans in like the Cherokee Nation. As the sight of the roses brought a strange peace into kind of like the Cherokee women who saw them, and there were a particularly large patch of them in a small glen, and many had sat weeping the previous night, as one paused to pick one up, and one of the elders stopped beside them and told me that there was a rose for each team we had shed during the journey. Like team members, these words stayed with them as he took a small parcel of belongings for my children into a line, and he kind of set out behind the husband, as there was a rose for each tear, as they're asking if it was possible, and in her heart, no, she believed him, as it was a small wonder or a miracle, but the best parts of like their lives has been made up of small miracles and tiny wonders, kind of thing, as they give us kind of like heart and hope, kind of thing. Though they suffered much of the rest of the journey to the Oklahoma Territory, a journey that would later be called a Trail of Tears, as many children were lost throughout the way, and somehow they had hope that there were better days coming for the Cherokee, and which has since come and all that. So yeah, bye for now, and I'll see you later.